Hi, my name is Jude Allen, and I'm the Director of Worship Ministries and also the Director of Children's Ministries here at Isle of Faith United Methodist Church. The United Methodist Conference is very serious, as well as it is a huge passion of mine that we train and teach our congregation and those working with children and youth that they are kept safe in our care. This should be one of the safest places in the world for our children. But sadly, statistics show that our children have not been protected in the church. And so we have made it a commitment to ensure that every volunteer, every staff member, takes training at least once a year, and they are background checked accordingly to ensure that our children remain safe. So we did have our training, and so many people attended from our church, even those who do not work with our children, and that made me so proud to be a part of this church, to see our members care so much, to know what the policies are and procedures to make sure that our children stay safe. So this training is going to follow this. If you work with our children 3 times a year or more, then this is required for you. If you have a key to our church where you can gain access, this is also required for you to take. If you are an outside group that uses our facilities, this is also required for you. So please listen to this video from beginning to end and email me at jude@iofumc.org and give me your information. I will email you the form that needs to be signed and sent back to the church. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being a part of this vital ministry of the church. Blessings.
There's a child here. So Father, help us to take in what we learn and help us to truly take this seriously, as you have no greater the joy. In fact, we see in the Bible where people are like, oh, we don't want the children to come up here. God, we're listening to your teacher. And he says to the people, let the little children come to me. So we know, God, that children are so important to you. So Father, we follow your footsteps and your instructions to take care of the ones that you love. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. So let's go ahead and start. Now, you may not be able to follow the packet exactly, but we have the slides here. So I would just focus on the slides, and then if you can go through and you want to follow that, that's fine too, okay? So the agenda, we're going to talk about the CYPP. CYPP stands for Child Youth Protection Policy. Who needs CYPP training, the topics, screening and selection recap, and the forms. Okay, so the next page. Child Youth Protection Policy addresses the policy needed for the protection and safety of children and youth participating in the life of the church. Our Christian faith calls us to offer both hospitality and protection to the little ones, the children. Since 1996, the UMC General Conference has required each local church to have a CYPP. The staff parish and the pastor is given the ultimate responsibility to be able to review the document each year and to make adoptions and to sign that yearly. So we can never go lower than the standards of the CYPP. But if we feel it necessary, we can make the standards higher and adopt that into place. Okay? So, child youth protection policies, we'll go through all of that. Just keep going, Andrew. I'll just do this so you can see me. So the definitions will go through what that is, and then the screening and selection. The screening is required for all staff, for all volunteers that volunteer in the children's ministry 3 times or more for the entire year. So you take the pumpkin patch, you take VBS, you take, any other time that you may volunteer, you're already required to have a screening done. So for the rest of the church, it's just good to have that knowledge so you can watch out for the children. And as parents, you can know the policies set in place to keep your children safe, okay? We have supervision of children in the classroom, okay? I know I'm going quickly, but this is a lot of information in 20 minutes. So up to 2nd grade, at least 2 adults that are not related must be there. So 1 adult must be screened. What does it mean to be screened? It means you have had a background check done, you have done an application, you have had an interview, you've had reference checks. We now have a new company, Screening One, that we know it's what the conference has requested as their preferred vendor for that. So it's a really easy process now. We actually just send out an email and a phone number that you provide, giving us authorization to do that, and they send you the information, and then you do it from your end, okay? 3rd to 5th grade classes, at least 1 screen adult. 6th to 12th grade, at least 1 screen adult. And then a designated floating adult should periodically check all classes. So what do I do when I leave after the offering is done if I'm not teaching? I'm walking around to the classrooms. What do you need? What's going on? Making sure that everything is covered, okay? Non-classroom programs and activities, at least 2 non-related adults, at least 1 screened. Permission from parent required prior to attending the meeting at an individual's home. So we don't do that at this time, but if ever that happened, we would make sure to follow those. At least 1 screened adult must be at least 3 years older than the age group they are supervising, okay? Let's continue that on the next slide. Programs with children up to 2nd grade. We do have a sign-in, sign-out procedure. I have just modified that because the one we had was not effective. We had visitors coming in, and they were coming to Children's Moment, and then the kids were just going upstairs. We had no record of the child's name. We didn't know really their parents' name. We didn't know emergency contact. We didn't know what they were allergic to. And I'm like, well, this is not going to work, because if I was a parent, that wouldn't feel very safe to me. So what I've done is we've hired someone to be out in the main hall, and their job is to check in families as they come in. They will direct them to the nursery, which opens at 9 a.m., and they check in, have their own system, so a parent has to check in a child in the nursery. We also have them checking in the K through 5, telling them this is what you should expect when you come into the sanctuary. So we already have the name, we have the birth date, we have the allergies, we have the emergency phone number, all before a parent has to release them upstairs to Never Never Land, which they have no idea where they're going, which is why we have someone out there now. So I love our new check-in, check-out procedure. It's not required for children over the 2nd grade, but we're going to do it anyway because I think that is just the best policy. Because we have so many amazing volunteers, most of them volunteer once a month, so just in case they're not as familiar, I just think it's best that we have records of everybody dropping off and picking up children, okay? So one other quick thing, we also, I created a space for nursing mothers in my office, and I actually had that today. A mother was trying to nurse sitting on a drawer in the bathroom, and I was like, oh, this is horrible. I'm like, please come into my office and sit in the rocking chair. So if there are babies and children in here, just a side note, my office will be used on Sunday mornings. I have the church service streaming, so they can still listen to the sermon and still be a part of worship, but they have a comfortable rocking chair that they can nurse there. So, or if a baby's crying, they can use that as a cry room too. Okay, just side note. Children should never be one-on-one in the bathroom. So it's really not an issue in our nursery because the bathroom is right off the classroom, and that makes it nice, or there's a changing table that's open to that. So upstairs is a little bit different. We have the long hallway that leads down to the children's bathrooms. And so what that procedure is either they wait for a floater, or if a floater is not there, one person would go and they would stand outside of the bathroom. 2 children never go to the bathroom by themselves, okay? The buddy system does not work here, okay? You take one child at a time. The adult stands outside of the bathroom, allows the child to go in, go to the restroom, come back out, and then you escort them back into the classroom, okay? There has been a lot of child-on-child abuse in that situation, so I just need you to understand how imperative it is that we never put any child in that space for that even to be an option to happen, okay? So rooms for children, youth must have a door or wall with a window. We're blessed to be to have the CDC as a part of our ministry here, and so the window is there for the nursery. The doors stay open constantly upstairs, so that is not an issue, and parents are always welcome to come and see their child. We don't limit that whatsoever, okay? Parents, staff, volunteers should be able to visit, observe classrooms, and then one screen adult can supervise children, youth, while waiting for transportation after group event, which we really don't have that at this point. Let's talk about online safety. I know this seems innocuous. I'm taking my shoes off. It's that kind of thing. Facebook, I don't know. I'm not up with the new things, so there's probably people much cooler than me. But, you know, the only thing I really use is Facebook. I think I have an Instagram account, but I don't know. Or TikTok. I've never had a TikTok. But there are so many forums that are available right now. Never friend request a minor, okay? Never private message a minor. If a minor does that with you, then you would need to set up a meeting in person at the church and then, you know, let somebody else know, especially if it's anything that's even blurry that's going on. So I know there are a lot of different forms. Again, I'm not as familiar with all of them, but the private messaging, just stay away from that. Really, you should be in contact with kids one-on-one at the church, and all the online stuff, that should not go on, period, okay? A lot of people have taken pictures in church. It seems innocuous, right? So you've taken pictures in church and you post it on your personal Facebook page. No, we can't do that. What you do is you go through the church, and we have Pastor Will post those pictures on Isle of Faith Facebook page if we have the photo permission slip, okay? Which is actually all of us in the church, even adults, are supposed to have a photo permission slip. So please, I know it's great to videotape stuff, but you know, unless it's your child and you're posting it personally, but if it has other children in it, then we don't want to do that, okay? No personal identification should be posted online. So even when Pastor Will or whoever does our website posts pictures, we're not going to give out names or any personal information that would identify that child specifically, because that puts them at risk, okay? Let's go to the next slide, slide 13. Transportation, we really don't do that right at this time. So if we end up doing that at any point, that person, whoever would be driving, would have a driver's license background check, and we would make sure they are cleared. There's forms that have to be filled out. So anybody that's starting or in a ministry, it's just a given. Always go to Pastor Will before you make any plans, and talk to him or I, especially when it involves children, because we can tell you what's going to work and what's not, okay? Obviously, if you ever have to drive a child, you want it to be 2 people in the car, okay? And of course, they have to wear seatbelts and all, just the basic steps of following the law. Slide 15. Retreat supervision, all of those things need to be, you can read through that on your own. Slide 16, trip and retreat supervision continued. Let's go to slide 17, which is the mentoring, okay? So mentoring should be done in a group setting with at least 2 adults present. Mentors may not give gifts to individuals without knowledge of the parents or guardians, okay? Gifts should be modest and appropriate, and mentors must never serve as a financial resource. Why? Not a rhetorical question, like why? Why is that? Why would you not want someone to start financially investing? I'm just seeing your knowledge here. Yes? Exactly. Grooming. Now, a lot of people don't have that in mind, but grooming is basically where you, or someone, not you, prepares a child by small little gestures, gain the trust of a child. And I know that sounds innocent and all the above, but when it's done by a person that doesn't have Christ-like intentions, that is a disaster, because children love gifts. They love, getting things, and so we just have to be careful that we're not doing that, okay? Mentors must obtain permission from the parent or guardian for one-on-one communication, okay? So I would never talk to a child and call them directly on their cell phone. I would call the parent and say, hey, do you mind if I talk to so-and-so? We did not see them on Sunday, and I just want to know if I can talk to them and tell them we missed them, okay? The child's usually right there with the parent, and I'm just saying, we missed you, hope you can come next week, but the parent is always involved in that. Special circumstances counseling, one-on-one counseling can occur with a screened adult with knowledge of at least one paid staff member. More than likely, I'm just gonna say this because it's just true, anything that you want to do and you're just like, whatever, go to Pastor Will about. I mean, he is here, Staff Parish is here, the CYPP is here. I'm here so that we're protected, okay, and you're protected. So, never pull off a child alone to do counseling. Even Pastor Will, when he does that, he'll keep his door open, okay? So all of us follow those. Door must remain open for the entire session. Unless a window gives clear view into the room, another adult must be in the building during counseling, and otherwise sessions should be moved to a public place where other people aren't present. Of course, you're not going to do that because we're not going to take the child off the premises. Counselor must assess their qualifications at first session and refer to more qualified counselor as needed, and counseling should be limited to no more than 3 sessions. So this is a little bit different than discipleship. Do we want to teach the curriculum? Yes. Do we want to be there for our children and youth? Yes. But there's a fine line between it becoming something else. So make sure you know your own limitations and try not to give professional advice that's out of your realm of qualifications. Does that make sense? Okay. Outside groups, 19. All outside groups are required to comply with our CYPP. And if they're not here today, they will be getting a call. They were invited, and make sure that they are in adherence with the child youth protection policy. Okay? Positive classroom environment, 20. The goal is to provide a safe, consistent, trustworthy environment to connect with God, to grow together in Christ, and we want our children to understand what it means to love others as Christ loves us. So this can be demonstrated by thinking of others first, listening to others, helping others, and sharing with others. We'll go on to appropriate discipline, slide 21. Communicate your expectations clearly, provide ample time for activities. If you're in a rush and you're hurried, that just kind of makes disorganized. It just makes it hard for the kids to actually follow you. So praise, reinforce positive behavior, 4 praises for every correction. We should do that to our significant others too. I'm just putting that's not part of CYPP, but you know. Use nonverbal communication to your advantage. Use your face and your hands to give guidance. One of the biggest things with children, get down to their level. If you think about being a child, do you want somebody looking down at you that's that much bigger, you know, talking to you? If you get down on a child's level, then you're able to communicate with them in a much better way, okay? Appropriate discipline, tips for guiding correcting behavior, correct disruptive behavior in a loving manner, discuss the action, not the child, offer an alternative action to correct, redirect the behavior, speak in a low, kind, but firm voice when kneeling at the child's level. Separate the child from the group and pray with them in view of another adult. When you bring the child back to the group, try to stay close to them, and then restrict class privileges as needed. Our parents come here to be able to worship. So what we want to do in our children's ministry is we understand that kids are not perfect. They're going to act their age. They are going to maybe make bad choices, so we don't run to the parents. First thing, we really try to teach and guide them in the ways that Jesus would do to allow the parents to have this time. But if a child can't be consoled or it's something physical and the child needs to be removed, we have all of the emergency numbers and we would notify a parent and remove the child if necessary, okay? Please don't touch a child, whether that's in soccer, whether that's at VBS. I mean, I think sometimes we just get in a hurry and we just kind of grab a child and take them because they're supposed to be going. We got to be really careful how we touch children, okay? Very gently, no grabbing, just if you wouldn't like it, they probably don't like it, okay? Making derogatory remarks, we never want to do that. And corporal punishment is never allowed for any reason. Contact parent when disruptive behavior persists and impacts the entire class, or there is physical harm to another child. In that case, there will be an incident report that is written up and given to me. We'll address the issue, remove the child as we need to, correct the behavior, and then of course try to bring the child back in, okay? Recognizing abuse. Physical abuse is violent, non-accidental contact which results in injury. Sexual abuse is any form of sexual activity regardless of where it occurs. Abuser can be any age, adult or minor. Emotional abuse is a pattern of intentional conduct which crushes a child or youth spirit, attacks his or her self-worth through rejections, threats, belittling, or isolating. And then neglect is failure to provide the basic needs, failure to protect a child and youth from harm. Reporting child abuse. Florida Statute 39.201, report known or suspected abuse. Volunteers and paid staff report immediately to pastor or myself. Pastor or designated staff, we will remove the accused from further involvement, call child abuse hotline, notify parents, notify district supervisor, keep written reports, records, be of service to official investigating the agency, do not investigate on your own, and do not discuss with the media, and preferably don't discuss with the rest of the church, okay? One of the things that has happened inside the church as a whole is that the church has, I really don't think it was like this intentional decision, but they have protected their abusers, whether they were on staff or whether because, they just love the people. But, we will never be a church that will err on the side or tolerate that for any reason. So just make sure that we understand that if there's an alleged report or we see something, we will handle it appropriately, okay? So a recap, page 26, CYPP screening and selection process consists of the application, the interview, reference check, background check, participation covenant, and photo permission, okay? So if you are a volunteer, which I've got quite a few volunteers now, if you serve once a month, then you now need to be checked. You need a background check. You need to fill out all of the forms, and I have all those forms together for you. Yes, Kai? Pastor Will, how long is the background check and the stuff from Upward Soccer good for? 5 years? Okay, you should be cleared. However, I would just fill out a covenant statement that you've been here, okay? Let's see, recap. So if you are a key holder, you have access to the church. That means you have access to children. So make sure that you mark if you have a key or a key card. This also just helps make sure our records are correct. So if you have a key, if you are a volunteer and you've not been checked, the background check is good for 3 years with screening 1. So I think everybody except for Deb Moulin, and there's one more person that has already been, Janice has been cleared, and so has Sherry Fussell. So everybody else needs to get that done, okay? The CYPP forms for parents, I have those all together too. If you are a parent of a child here, we have a medical form for you to fill out. We have a photo permission for you to fill out, so we have all of that on record. So if you can grab that if you're a parent, okay? And we need one for each child, or the photo permissions, if it's both yes, like, you guys, you can just, put Amelia and Eric on the same one, okay? Let's see, 29, for youth leaders, the incident report, those are provided to our teachers at the back of their clipboard every week. The staff or volunteers who are supervising should complete the form through action taken and notify the children's director or youth ministry director and pastor, okay? It's all the same here. So, what I do want to say, just a few things. If you are going to, there's 3 groups of people here, and you might fall in 2 of them. One, you are a church member and you really don't serve in the children's ministry, but you came just because you love our children and you want to make sure that you stay updated with what we're doing. All you need to fill out is the covenant that's required once a year, that you have been here and that you have this packet. And again, I would just say also that you're going to look through it and ask questions if you need to, okay? So if you are here and that's you just have that one form to fill out, okay? If you have keys and you're not sure if your background checked, if you just want to put, I have a key or a key fob, then just put it. And then if I need more information, I'll contact you. If you know that you haven't had a background check done, I would go ahead and fill out the information. For parents, if you have children here, there is a packet for you. You'll need to have that packet and fill out the paperwork in that packet, okay? And then, of course, our volunteers that go weekly, if you serve more than 3 times a year, I want to go ahead and get screened. The conference asked us what percentage of your congregation is screened, and I would love to be 95%. We were 85% last year, but I think we can do better than that, okay? I would rather have too many people screened than not enough. That's just where I am with that. So I understand that some of this paperwork is sensitive information. I want to tell you that Janice and Sherry, who are co-chairs of the SBRC, I have a accordion file that she can take that information where we keep it private, locked up. Once I process the paperwork, do what I need to, it will be locked up in the accounting office, which is a different key than everybody else has, and only certain people can access that office. So any information you give to us will be held in strict confidence, okay, including the children's records, okay? Children in classes 0 through pre-K and nursery, okay? We've had a few issues with this. This is the last thing. We need the children to be in the correct classes. I know it can be like, oh, but her sister's upstairs or her brother's downstairs, and we have a lot of that. However, the curriculum for upstairs is for our children upstairs. The curriculum downstairs is for our children downstairs. When we move smaller children upstairs before they're ready, there's safety hazards upstairs, It also disrupts the teaching and the curriculum for the older kids, because you have to realize we have kids up to 5th grade. And so we need every child to be in their appropriate classes. I think it's been a little bit of confusion there, but from here on out, all of the staff and also myself will make sure that that policy is followed. We will have a promotion Sunday, and on that Sunday, we'll move everybody up to the grade level, and we'll move children there, okay? What I'd like for you to do is, if you have any questions, my email is jude@iofumc.org. If the question can wait, I would love for you to email me. Then I'll put all the questions together, and I can provide it to the church, so maybe it answers something else. So feel free to email me with questions. And if I can have Staff Parish, if you just need the CYPP form, can you guys help give those out? To raise your hand if you just need the CYPP form. Yes. It is recommended. The only person that is a mandate to do that is your field trip coordinator. Other than that, it is recommended, but it is not required. Okay? Yes, Mike. Oh, you're trying to get a form. Yes. Well, the difference is with the pumpkin patch, and this is a good differential here, is that when people come to the pumpkin patch, their parents are with them. Like the field trips, they could be coming with a school teacher. So if the parents are overseeing their own child, you don't necessarily need to be background checked. So to be a host at the pumpkin patch, it's not really necessary, because you are not in direct care of a child that doesn't have a parent there. Does that make sense? Yes. Palm Sunday is the same thing. Their parents are actually bringing them on their grounds, and they are the responsible party for their own children, okay? Any other questions? Great questions, guys. Yes. Oh, you're just trying to get a form. Okay. Now, once we have that, I think we have Kai, who has a child here, and you guys. So they need, let's see, that's just 2 of them. Who needs a background check? Is he being cleared through Upward, or is he being cleared through, Pastor Will? Is he being cleared through Upward, or is he being cleared through us? Okay, so yes. Here, I'm going to hand you this. If you could fill that out. Yes. Anybody else need an actual application? You're covered through, he's already done your background check. So you just need to fill out the other thing. Okay? So, does everybody have at least the covenant form to fill out? That is, oh, we're missing some. They're coming still. Okay. Anybody else need the form to fill out for background checks? Anybody else? Barbara, you need a form? Okay, you guys all need that? I thought, yes. Did we run out? Oh, that's good that we ran out. I think I ran 35 copies. Yet the only 2 parents we have here are these 2 families. Okay. If everybody can sign the covenant, write down real quick. If you have a key, please, that's important. And make sure you print your name so I can read it, so I can update my spreadsheet, so we have all current information, okay? And then I will contact you if there's any questions, and then we can finish it. So Andrew, you need to fill out the covenant too. Okay, great. Marty, you need to fill out a covenant too. You don't have one? Okay, if someone can get Marty a form too.